What if everything you were taught about money was designed to keep you chasing it forever? Imagine waking up every morning, exhausted, working harder every year, making more money than you did 5 years ago, yet somehow feeling even more trapped. Bills increase, prices rise, stress multiplies, and no matter how hard people run, freedom always seems one step away. But what if the problem is not laziness? What if the game itself was built this way? Tonight, I want to tell you a story. Not about banks, not about billionaires, not about secret conspiracies. This is the story of a man named Daniel. Because Daniel believed the same thing millions of people believe, that money would save him. And he was wrong. Daniel grew up believing money was everything. Not because his parents were greedy. Actually, they were good people, hardworking people. But every conversation in the house somehow ended with money. We can't afford that. Maybe next year. Work hard so you don't struggle like us. Those words became part of him. By the age of 10, Daniel already believed poor people suffered because they didn't work hard enough. By 15, he promised himself he would become rich. And by 22, he had finally escaped poverty. At least, that's what he thought. He got a good job in the city, a modern apartment, new clothes, a car he absolutely could not afford. But the world rewarded appearances. People respected him more. Friends admired him. Family praised him. For the first time in his life, Daniel felt important. So he kept upgrading. Better phone, better watch, better apartment, better lifestyle. And every upgrade came with a payment. Monthly payments, yearly payments, interest payments. But Daniel ignored the pressure because everyone around him lived the exact same way. The city itself seemed powered by debt. People bought things they didn't own, with money they didn't have, to impress people who were doing the exact same thing. Nobody said it out loud, but deep down, everyone was terrified. Terrified of slowing down. Terrified of looking unsuccessful. Terrified of falling behind. So the machine kept moving. Wake up, commute, work, stress, spend, repeat. And the strangest part? The more money Daniel made, the more anxious he became. Because he discovered a dangerous truth. Making more money does not automatically create freedom. Sometimes, it only creates bigger cages. The illusion. One night, after working nearly 14 hours, Daniel sat alone in his apartment staring at his bank account. His salary was higher than ever, yet somehow he was nearly broke. Rent, subscriptions, car payment, insurance, debt, food delivery, streaming services, taxes, credit card bills. Money entered his life like water and disappeared just as quickly. That was the night Daniel met an old man named Victor. The meeting happened by accident. Daniel entered a small convenience store after midnight to buy coffee. Victor stood near the counter quietly reading a newspaper. He looked ordinary. Simple jacket, old shoes, gray hair. But there was something unusual about him. Peace. The kind of peace Daniel had never seen before. Victor noticed Daniel staring at his phone. Bad news? He asked. Daniel laughed bitterly. Just bills. Victor smiled. Bills are modern chains. Daniel chuckled.
You sound like one of those internet philosophers.
Victor folded the newspaper slowly.
No, he said. I sound like a man who escaped. Those words stayed in Daniel's mind. Escaped what? Victor invited him to sit. And over the next hour, the old man explained something Daniel would never forget. The world teaches people to earn money, Victor said. But almost nobody teaches people how money actually works. Daniel listened carefully. Victor grabbed a paper napkin and drew 3 circles. Income, expenses, assets. Most people spend their entire lives strengthening the first circle, Victor explained.
They work harder, learn more skills, chase promotions, beg for raises. But while they increase income, their expenses rise even faster. Daniel nodded slowly. That sounded painfully familiar. Victor tapped the 3rd circle. This is the circle nobody understands. Assets. Real wealth, Victor said, is not about how much money you earn. It's about how long your money can survive without your labor. Daniel frowned. Victor continued. If you stopped working tomorrow, how many months can you survive? Daniel already knew the answer. Maybe 1 month. 2 if he was desperate. Victor smiled sadly. Then you are not wealthy. You are dependent. That sentence hit Daniel harder than he expected. Because for the first time, he realized something terrifying. He did not own his lifestyle. His lifestyle owned him. The system. Over the next few weeks, Daniel kept meeting Victor, and every conversation shattered another illusion. Victor explained that modern society profits from emotional spending. Fear, insecurity, comparison, status. Entire industries survive by making people feel incomplete. Advertisements rarely sell products. They sell identity. Buy this car, become respected. Buy this watch, become successful. Buy this lifestyle, become desirable. And millions fall into the trap because humans crave validation. Victor leaned forward during one conversation. The richest corporations on Earth do not simply compete for your money, he said. They compete for your attention, because attention controls desire, and desire controls behavior. Daniel started noticing things he had ignored his entire life. People buying things to escape stress. People shopping because they were sad. People upgrading perfectly functional items because trends changed. And behind all of it, debt. Easy loans. Easy payments. Easy credit. Modern systems encouraged people to consume first and think later. Victor explained why. A person drowning in debt is easier to control, he said, because debt creates fear. Fear of losing the job, fear of missing payments, fear of instability. So people tolerate miserable lives because survival depends on the next paycheck. Daniel remembered something shocking. Most people were not working toward freedom. They were working to avoid collapse. That realization changed everything. The lie about success. One evening, Daniel attended a reunion with old friends. The restaurant was expensive, luxury everywhere. People arrived wearing designer clothes, expensive jewelry, polished smiles. Everyone looked successful. But as the night continued, the truth slowly emerged. One friend admitted he was buried in credit card debt. Another confessed he hated his job but couldn't quit. A woman earning 6 figures quietly admitted she had panic attacks every week. And Daniel realized something disturbing. Many people looked rich. Very few were actually free. Victor later explained the difference. Rich is appearance. Wealth is control. A person driving a luxury car
may secretly be drowning. Meanwhile, someone living quietly, investing carefully, avoiding unnecessary debt, may possess far greater freedom. Because true wealth often looks boring. It is discipline, patience, long-term thinking, not flashy lifestyles. Victor then told Daniel the most important truth of all. Money amplifies who you already are. If someone is insecure, money can make them arrogant. If someone is wise, money can create opportunity. If someone lacks discipline, money disappears. And if someone depends emotionally on status, no amount will ever feel enough, because the hunger never ends. There is always a bigger house, a newer phone, a richer neighbor, a higher level. The race itself has no finish line. The turning point. Months passed. Daniel slowly changed his life. He canceled unnecessary subscriptions, sold things he bought only to impress others, started saving aggressively, learned about investing, reduced debt. For the first time in years, he stopped trying to look successful. Instead, he focused on becoming stable. Then, eventually, free. And something unexpected happened. His anxiety decreased, because every dollar saved created breathing room. Every debt removed reduced pressure. Every smart financial decision increased peace. Daniel finally understood why so many wealthy people value time more than money. Because money can return. Time cannot. Victor explained this during one of their final meetings. The ultimate purpose of money, he said, is not luxury. It is choice. Choice to leave toxic environments. Choice to protect family. Choice to rest. Choice to pursue meaningful work. Choice to live without constant fear. That is real wealth. Not endless consumption. Freedom. The final lesson. One winter evening, Daniel returned to the convenience store. Victor was gone. The cashier explained the old man had passed away peacefully several days earlier. Daniel stood silently. Then, the cashier handed him a folded envelope. Victor had left it for him. Inside was a single handwritten message. The people who control their desires become impossible to manipulate. Daniel read the sentence again, and suddenly, everything became clear. The truth about money was never just about numbers. It was about psychology, discipline, freedom, awareness. Because money itself is neither evil nor good. It simply reveals priorities. Some people use money to buy status. Others use it to buy time. And time is the one thing nobody can create more of. Years later, Daniel would tell others the same thing Victor told him. Do not spend your entire life chasing the appearance of wealth while sacrificing the experience of living. Because the world will constantly encourage you to consume, to compare, to chase, to prove yourself. But real freedom begins the moment you stop needing strangers to validate your life. That is when money stops controlling you, and you finally begin controlling it. Most people will spend their entire lives earning money. Very few will ever understand it. Because the greatest financial trap is not poverty. It is believing more consumption will eventually create peace. But peace does not come from endless upgrading. It comes from control, from discipline, from learning the difference between what impresses people and what protects your future. The truth about money is simple. Money is a tool. If you fail to control it, it will quietly control you. And the most powerful people are not always the ones who earn the most. Sometimes they are simply the ones who need the least. If this story changed the way you see money, share it with someone chasing success but losing peace. And follow for more stories about power, psychology, history, and the hidden truths shaping modern life.